start.
Well, there we go. Well, I was just saying, I said all the best explanations here. It was like here, when I was here before, it was like, that was like the little small room that was like here. It was like this little, it was a temporary room. It's just for temporary uses only or something. My thing's going off. Oh, I should time it anyway. Okay. I didn't know my alarm was on 12:52. So 18 minutes past. 18 minutes past. Okay. Oh, I got that one quick. Yeah, I've been here. It was like I was like fascinated by it. It was like this really small little room. It was probably the size of this like deck here, and it may have been a little smaller, like from here to like there. It was a little bit more. It may be a little bit like more length up to like here or something to like the wall. It was like right there. It was like this odd. They kept saying it was a temporary room. It's only for temporary use, and then it's like gone. I was like picking at it or something, at the wall or something like that, and I was just like, this doesn't, there's something wrong about the place, and it was just like it's off or something. It doesn't, it doesn't match the rest of the place. And they were kind of like, what area do you like me? And I was just like, it doesn't have, it doesn't have the same type of wall. And they were like, well, how can you tell? Because it's all painted the same. You can't know because it has the same paint. I was like, but you could just look at it and tell that it's like not the same wall. And I went along it and I like kind of tapped at it, and some like woman that was like there kind of tapped at it too, and she was just like, oh my gosh, you're right. It's like it is a little different. And then she got the other woman to come over that was like kind of kind of like doubting I guess, or like surprised, like I could tell like a difference. And she was just like, it does sound and feel different, but she was just like, you didn't know that though because you hadn't touched it. And I was just like, it just looks different. This room doesn't belong here. And it's like not normally here. And she was just like, how did you like know that? I'm like, I don't know, I just know it. It was just really odd. It was like you go into the entryway over here, and it was like right off to the side. It was like this little kind of like room. I don't know. It had like a really small bed, and it was like a bed that you'd have to be about. See, I'm like 5'11", and it was like a bed you'd have to be. I'm gonna guess like it was probably about 5 foot wide or something like that. And it was like so like somebody shorter than 5 foot could like just only comfortably sleep in it, and even then you'd be kind of like this. And it was like kind of, it wasn't all that wide. It was like about like so. It had sort of a roundish sort of like futon kind of thing. Looked like a deflated banana or something, I guess, or something like that. And I actually got to go in and had a kind of an interesting, distinctive smell. The gift shop made me think of it because I was just over there in the gift shop, and it had that kind of smell in it. I was just like, wait a minute, I know that place. I was like looking over like that. I have to take my word for it. Darn, I was going to go for a nice little walk, but I guess I probably will here in a bit. But, yeah, that was it. When I went to see like here before. And this is not like the story about me throwing a coin because they needed to name the place, and it was all complicated and stuff like that. The story is like they threw it like I think it was like best 2 out of 3 times to get the name for Portland, And it was like with me, it was like I threw it on the table, it slid, hit the windowsill. I think it hit the windowsill, and then it landed on the floor. That room was like, there's someone right there. It was like kind of like there, and there's like the entrance is like over here. It was kind of odd. It was almost like this like area here where this kind of odd or something. Or I don't know. It's not odd. I don't know much about mansions, but it was like, okay, there's the entryway, so maybe it wasn't there. It's like you went in, and it was like kind of like, I don't know, I should probably go in. Maybe I can't go in with the camera, but I got plenty of them around as it is. And it was like you go in there, as you go in there, it like, it was just this odd little room. It was almost about like this size here. The door was about, okay, it was like about here, and it's like cut off. And then you make it a little bit smaller, maybe about to there. And the door was like here, and it was a small, unusually small door. It was like from here to there, and it was away from the wall though. It was closer to the middle of the room. And then you just open it up, and there was like this little bed here. There was a little bit of a gap here though. And then there was like something here, maybe a little bigger than that, maybe out to the edge here. Maybe a little bigger. Gosh, if I was indoors, I could probably measure it out. It was like this really, really odd room. I remember on the way back home, or whatever, I was just thinking I think Indian, chubby cheek Indian girl died or something, because they said it was like haunted or something, and it just gave me the creeps. I thought maybe she like died and she was like haunting the place or something like that. And I think somebody said, well, how could she like haunt the place? Oh, I forgot what it was. There was some sort of reason. It was like she could haunt the place and be alive at the same time. I think that's what they meant. And I was just like, oh no, haunting places and stuff like that takes a lot of work. You got to do that like full time. It's a full time job. And I don't think I said it was a full time job, but it was just like you have to spend all your time haunting a place if you're going to haunt it, you know. And it was just like, gosh, I don't know, how do you argue against that kind of logic? Well, you probably don't, I suppose. Here's where it was, where they were like, you know, you can go there and they'll like you. You go anywhere else, here, there. I think it was there that they would like you. You go anywhere else though, and they'll like hate you. Actually, I thought it was like in the direction of like Kennewick. It was just like that's where you gotta go. Here was supposed to be a kind of a refuge sort of thing. Like if I ever got like in trouble, if I could find the place to get like here, you know. And then I think like later they said, that might not work. Oh, I caught that, but I didn't have the film on me. There's cameras all over the place though. Man, it was like this really small room. It was very unusual. It really was. The bed was about 5 feet. It was almost sort of like, yeah, kind of like 5 feet. It may have even been a little bit shorter. I was a little shorter myself at the time. I didn't know all this was like up here so much. I haven't been up here since the last time I was here. Yeah, so that was just one of those kind of strange things. It was like it just doesn't belong here. It's like you could kind of walk into the place and just tell it really just didn't kind of belong. It wasn't like really out in the way or anything like that. It was just kind of odd. I don't know. Oh, that's not gonna work. Maybe I'll have to do another video. Such a nice day. I should stay up here. On most things I'm not late, but I get it usually pretty well. Even when I'm late, I still get it. I just didn't have time to prove it. It's a different thing than actually proving it. Something like this, you gotta be able to prove. Oh, it's an old mail truck. I didn't tell him that.
Hey, son! Look at me, Daddy!
Oh, he grabbed his phone. But I didn't move it. She points in the direction of the camera. Well, in the same direction. 102. All right, that was smart. Look, another golf ball. Dang, that's pretty. I don't know. Camera's like right at the sun. Is that such a good idea? Cameras are people too. She's a little bit like Chubby Cheek Indian Girl. The one in black right there. Not the bee, but her. Bee, that's me. Mila, which is my Indian name. And it means bee of all things. Yeah, it was like right in there. Like that little window there. Could be like there. But it was like you go in a little bit like so. Not a whole lot. But I may be wrong. It looks like the entry, you gotta go like that to get into there. And I'll check it later. It was like you just go a little bit. It was almost like you could go in the entryway and you have like an option of going that way or that way or something, and then like that way or something. And so. Chubby Cheek Indian Girl, I don't remember her name. She was always talking about where we had the the cow. Hey, the bee. I guess bees would check this thing out. Okay. I'd make it yellow or something. Or orange. Orange flags. Yeah, that was, it was just this really strange kind of room. You just sort of like walked in the place and it just looked, it didn't even like stand out or anything. It was just sort of like, it was what's in here kind of thing. It just doesn't really quite belong. I don't know, maybe it did in some kind of way that I don't really particularly remember. Like where people could say, well, we're looking at it now. And, so. It was a lot like a setup you would have at like in North Vancouver Island, the villages that I'm like from, it was that kind of setup.
Low power.
Oh, power. And so it was a little bit like a little bit like how I used to like think of things where I would go into, I could be in small rooms. I remember when I was like younger and stuff like that, and I could spend a long time looking at like knots in any kind of wood and things like that. I talked about that before. I didn't have it on video, but and I would like study those things and stuff like that. And it was like that's like what I would do. That's what us Indians would do, is how you like measure time and how you measure memories. If somebody says anything important, you go on a walk with them and then you look at this, that, or the other place and you remember, at least try to, where they said this, that, and the other thing, and then you go on that walk by yourself later and remember like over and over again where they were at. I did that with the house I did in North Bend, and get right down to, they could like, I'd wake up one day and they'd replace all the wood or something, and it's just like, I could tell, it was just like, whoa, it's like all radically different. They'd be like, you can't tell that, it's the same thing, the same wood, the same stain, the same everything. It was just like, no, the knots, everything is like radically different. I'd get down and like show them, everybody, how like, it was like really, really, really different. And it was, so anyway, what I was getting to is like, it was a bit like the Doctor Who and the TARDIS, where they get, you walk into the, it's this little thing, it's like this small room, it's a police call box about that size, you know, whatever they're like there in England. And you walk in and it's just like this whole other like world, you know, it's like this whole room and it's, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So, nailed it. Yeah, it's just this little tiny room. Oh yeah, it's like the fire hydrant, I guess. Somebody up there likes me. Do more of the promotion of things and stuff too. I'll do some of that tonight and more like later, I suppose. So, anyway, it was basically like the Doctor Who in the TARDIS, you know. So. Wish I had like the video to do like more stories and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a regret. I just didn't think, you know, it really was all that important. And now I kind of think it's not like it isn't, but it's just like what they say with like North Korea, where they're hiding their arsenal all up in hills and in the tunnels and things like that. It's because I go walking out in the woods and I just, you know, and I just talk and I talk and I talk. Anybody that's followed me around, especially in the last year, the last 365 days, it's just like, even like last spring, it was just lots and lots of things. I was doing this. Talking a lot about a lot of memories and stuff too, even not just last winter, but the winter before that, you know. So they won't release that because, you know, that would end a lot of stuff like really, really quick. Apparently everybody gets a roses and sunshine kind of view of everything, and or something. I really don't know what. And this thing is just insane. So wish I had like more of that kind of stuff. I get more comfortable talking around camera, and I'll talk about like more things. I always keep thinking I'm going to run out of something, and you know, I thought I was going to do that about 6 months ago, and I just now remembered that. So, oh, the other Pittock match and stuff, though, that I talked about in the woods. So it's like they say with Fox Business, you know, if your network provider doesn't carry it, demand it. You know, like Neil Cavuto would say, and so. You know, it's just, you just got to kind of demand it. It's just like if they won't let you see it, you know. It's an interesting story, and it's an interesting, or you could say it's an interesting take on whatever imitator you got this year, you know. I don't know what kind of bird that is. Probably it's probably like a raven or a crow. Anyway. Is that like New Zealand? Yeah, it's a little bit like it. And a little bit like Hokkaido. Well, a little bit. I looked at something that made a noise over there. That's what I was looking at. I did it just about a second before it did. That's where it was. So if you want to see where it was at, I suppose. You're into that kind of thing. I'm gonna just stay here till like the video runs out. Darn, I should have stayed up there. And cause it's kind of like warm out, and then I'll probably get the battery out of that one, and you know, just kind of. Oh, it was right there, and I think I just about had it. There it is. There it is. The shadow of the thing. There we go. I'm at 11. Okay. 5 minutes. Gosh, I should have just stayed up there. Didn't time that well at all. Hey, let's just get going and do a little bit of work. And then put another battery in and do some more work. Here's what we used to do in Vancouver Island. We would take rocks and throw them at things. Well, it might be destructive. Here, let's throw it and see if it gets on one of those logs. Ah. Oh, now it's like Japan proper. With a little pew right there. With a little nipple. Like one of these things. The land of nipples, that's the Japanese word for China. For Japan. So it's like there, there, and there. There, I don't know if the resolution is such that that shit probably is though. It's like right there. It's like going. It's like right there. Dirt foot. I think that's why my car doesn't work all of a sudden, because I figured about the Dunthorpe thing and I put the Dunthorpe addresses all over town and it pissed everybody off. And now they're not happy about it, so. There's Beavers, Redskins, University of Oregon. Little birdie in there. You're going kind of quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time spinning and stuff like that. Today I didn't. I'm like kind of more telling a story, and this is like kind of nice. I don't want to get all dizzy. Yeah. No kidding. I mean, I want to, you know, and then I won't feel like writing later. Oh, I caught that I went like that, just in case. I guess. I don't know. I don't.